From Amazon to Twitter, big tech companies are handing pink slips to their employees. Amazon has already planned to fire about 10,000 of its employees. Medium and smaller companies too, and this includes startups, have also been on a firing spree. This could very well be the season of layoffs. So far in 2022, there have been over 1,200 layoffs at tech companies and over 1 lakh people have been impacted. Indians too will bear a brunt of these layoffs.
This is not the first time layoffs are happening. They have happened in the past and are likely to happen in the future too. But what is different this time is that a large chunk of technology companies are getting disproportionately affected by the layoffs. And there is a good reason for that. The COVID induced pandemic over the last couple of years meant that there was restriction on physical movement, which also helped technology companies gain disproportionate market share. Their valuations shot up significantly. Now that as the global economy opens up with the COVID-induced pandemic on the wane, the technology companies are witnessing a kind of more realistic check on their valuations. Meta, for instance, was dependent for a large part of its revenue on online advertising, with shopping and eyeballs moving away from merely online to a mix of physical world and online. Its revenues have dropped. This has led to impact on their operations, which has resulted in the kind of challenges which we have seen the company face. And this is not just limited to Meta alone. If you look at something like Twitter again, for instance, there have been reports that Twitter has laid off close to about half of its workforce. This has not only been occasioned by a change in management, but also by the fact that Twitter was not profitable, and the new management felt that they need to get back to some kind of a sustainable revenue model. PC makers, as well as the chip suppliers to the PC makers, had a phenomenal couple of last 8, 9 quarters. When the world went into a lockdown, demand for desktops, laptops, tablets, phones all shot up significantly. Now that growth is returning back to normal and is not aided by a black swan kind of an event like the COVID related pandemic. So valuations are also getting affected, revenue is getting affected, which is the reason why we are seeing that layoffs are happening.
What will happen to the workers in India?
Indian employees won't be immune to the kind of challenges which these global organizations are facing. Having said that, over the last decade or so, a number of global corporations had ramped up their Indian operations for two reasons. One, because of the huge amount of technical talent pool which was available in India, and B, also because of the lower cost of talent available in India. So while there will be some degree of impact because of the lower cost of operations, maybe compared to a North America or a European operations, some of these global companies might probably look at cutting their India base much lesser than what they do in some of those higher cost geographies.
Could these layoffs be a signal of a recession?
While layoffs are a reality, maybe the use of the R word is not appropriate yet. At least there needs to be two successive quarters of contraction in the economy before we can even call it anywhere around use the recessionary word. It would be premature to call it as a recession. There are pockets of growth being witnessed. India, for example, will see has been one of the bright spots on the global economic map.
How are things looking for India Inc. at large?
It depends from sector to sector. It depends from varies from country to country. Some of the large companies, for instance, say in the India context, if they are addressing a largely domestic audience, they might not get impacted as much as, some of the IT services companies, for instance, in India, which are very well integrated into the operations of their global counterparts. Indian IT, for instance, employs about 5 million people, and any impact on their end customers globally will have a ripple effect on the Indian IT service providers too. Technology sector is getting disproportionately hit, but I'm sure that if the economy continues to stutter, the global economy continues to stutter, then all sectors of the economy will eventually get impacted.